Special Agribusiness Report. Getting back to business, Harvest Agro and Processing Company Limited CEO Goke Adeyemi speaks on the company's performance and offerings amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Ondo State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, Odusola-Stevenson, is touching lives and bringing succor to the oil producing community in the state. The chairman of the commission, Honorable Gbenga Edema, is our guest on our focus segment of the program. The hospitality industry is in focus and our attention is shifted to the Sunshine States, Ondo State. Crystal Suit offer home away from home. We have a report. This is Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. Hello, a very good day to you and thanks for joining us. My name is Kenneth Odusola-Stevenson and this is Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. Like you may have heard on the highlight, we are going to be having a very important special guest on our program today to talk about the goings on at Odusola-Stevenson and how that particular agency is bringing succor to the oil producing areas of Ondo State. Honorable Gbenga Edema will be joining us later on. But for now, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll give you the full details. Welcome back. You're still inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. Thanks for staying with us. The COVID-19 pandemic may have hampered so many operations across the globe, especially within the corporate world. The agro-allied sector in Nigeria was also affected because there was movement disruption and many other things. However, some operators that are getting back to business are saying that they are looking forward with optimism to a very robust performance. Harvest Agro and Allied and Processing Limited is an Ogun State-based organization operating in the industry, and the Managing Director, Chief Executive, Mr. Goke Adeyemi, speaks in this special report on the sector vis-a-vis the offerings of the Agro, Allied and Processing. Food and agribusiness form about $5 trillion global industry that is only getting bigger. If current trends continued, by 2050, calorie demand would increase by 70% and crop demand for human consumption and animal feed would increase by at least 100%. Meeting this demand won't be easy. For example, 40% of water demand in 2030 is unlikely to be met, and more than 20% of arable land is already degraded. Sensing an opportunity, strategic and agribusiness investors are racing to capture value from the technological innovation and discontinuities in food and agriculture, with Ogun State-based Nigerian company Harvest Agro tapping into the opportunities and providing the needed products through a well-guided vision and mission. Mr. Goke Adeyemi is the Managing Director and Chief Executive of Harvest Agro and Processing Limited, a big player in the industry.
Harvest Feed and Agro Processing Limited is an incorporated company, agro processing company, in 2013, and then we started into cassava processing. Initially we were into farming of cassava, and we still do, by the way, but later we now went into processing of cassava into food grade edible starch. So I'm grounded in processing of food, in Nigeria. Is it beer? Is it malt? Is it food? Several food products. We are into food manufacturing, but in the agro processing of food manufacturing. We produce starch that food industries or other industries utilize for their own products. There are several products that we have our starch into it, or maybe they are intermediate products, as it were, that do starch. So that basically is what we have done the last 4 years.
To identify markets and companies that may be attractive, collaboration forms part of the business survival strategy in the agribusiness sector. And what has been the position of Harvest Agro in that regard?
We are still learning. In Nigeria, most people want to go it alone, but that's not the solution to it. we cannot go it alone. We need experts in various fields coming together, collaborate, and have a shared vision to increase productivity and contribute significantly to the economy. I am a food technologist, like I said, but I know about a lot of processing, of agro materials or food and the rest of them. However, I need engineers, those who know the nitty-gritty of machines. While during my career, I know about food machines and food engineering to some extent, but I'm not a mechanical engineer, as it were. So I have to bring in mechanical engineer. I brought in electrical engineer. I also brought in commercial people. Luckily, one of my children read human resource, so he provided the HR area, for that. One of them is also an industrial chemist, as it were. He is supporting me in terms of the knowledge, the technology of processing cassava into starch. So, like rightly said, also we need farmers, as it were, because farming also is a profession. It's not just to have 2 acre or 1 acre, or I'm doing the subsistence farming. In the first factory, we will consume daily close to 100 tons of cassava starch, or cassava tubers per day to produce our 20 tons of starch. Then the second factory requires close to 300 tons of cassava tubers per day. This is heavy, and we need farmers, not the subsistence farmer, 1 acre, we need commercial farmers, those who know about farming, as it were. So we have to bring them also into the team to collaborate with them.
But finding new investment opportunities is not easy and requires a detailed understanding of products, geographies, and complex value chain that encompasses raw materials and other inputs, as well as other market-driven initiatives and incentives. For Harvest Agro and Ag Processing Limited, planning for the future means positioning the firm and the product within the segment of the agribusiness sector and the consumers.
You use the variety that is suitable for processing of starch, because there are several varieties of cassava. There are several varieties of it. So, but the improved variety is the one that you, farmer, must plant from the beginning. It does not mean that you cannot use other varieties too, but if you use improved variety, you are on the road to success. You are almost 60% to successful in that business. So you use the proper variety, and you give it better agronomic practices during the cultivation period. Lucky us, cassava can withstand even sometimes extreme climatic condition. So it will grow, as it were. It requires not too much of water, it will grow. And then, however, again, you don't keep it for too long, because this is for starch production. If it stays too long in the ground, maybe there's 3-year cassava, but we can't use that for starch. We need it between maybe 10 months, 12 months, 14 months, 16 months maximum. Pull it away from the ground, harvest it, as it were, and then you have to send it to the factory. And toxicological analysis, what do we check? We want to check whether you have the correct starch content in it. We want to check whether you have the residue of any chemical, maybe all these agrochemicals in it and the rest of them. We also want to check what's the level of cyanide and all the rest of other things that are there. Once all those ones are right, and we know if you have done your job well and we have followed the advice of experts, you will definitely get a good product. So we analyze the tubers before harvesting, just shortly before harvesting, and even during harvesting and when you are bringing it to the factory, we also subject the tubers to analysis and confirm they are good before we put them into production.
Nigerian agribusiness is moving quickly and is already catching up to some of the opportunities and challenges available globally. And government policies must reflect the changing times and the opportunities they bring.
Yoruba says, so you need fuel. Agriculture will provide the fuel, the food, people will eat. When they eat, they have energy. They can think, they can work, they can produce, they can be productive. So I think the government should continue to invest in agriculture. Not only government, I also employ citizens of Nigeria to also look into agriculture too. Government, please go ahead, develop our infrastructure. As I speak in this factory, we are using generator. Every day, if you run one factory, we consume 2,500 liters of diesel daily. So please, we need power to run our factories.
Our special report on the agro-ala industry will continue on Inside Business Africa next week. And however, we are going to be continuing to discuss this industry extensively. And there is a webinar that is being planned to actually look at holistically into the agricultural value chain. And don't forget, AgriCorp Nigeria is still going to be holding on the 25th of August. It might be visually, it might be in person, depending on the circumstances at that time. When we come back right after this commercial break, we'll talk about the hospitality industry and look at the Sunshine State, Ondo State. Stay with Inside Business Africa. We'll be right back. Indeed, economics of nations have been so disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic in the last 4 months, thereabouts. The hospitality and tourism industry are no exception, because that industry has been so disrupted because hotels are not even allowed to operate. However, the airports have also been closed. Indeed, some operators are getting back to business and preparing themselves for the challenges ahead, bringing what they have to offer to the general public. Our attention today is on Ondo State, especially Akure, the state capital, where an operator in the hospitality industry, Crystal Suites, is currently based. That organization and the hotel has been doing a lot to get back to business and showcasing some of the important materials and the hospitalities they provide for guests. Take a listen to this report. The tourism and hospitality industry is one of the largest service industry in Nigeria. The Nigeria hotel industry has changed drastically with the increased use of technology by well-informed consumers, thus advancing the hospitality sector unpredictably. Akure, the Ondo State capital, is home to one of the most suited hotel, Crystal Suites.
Crystal Street is a hotel that comprises of 11 rooms, situated at +3. Block 22, Odusola Street, off Ado Street, Ijapo Estate. We render services from accommodation. We have the restaurant, the bar, we'll have the laundry and the gym.
The landscape of Nigerian hospitality sector has changed with oversupply and less demand. The big player in Akure, like Crystal Suites, with the required ambience and the latest materials that meet international standards, adapting to the requirements of the astute Nigerian markets, and is winning.
But there's what we call professionalism touch that will make the guests to always come back. Now feel free to always recommend your hotel to some. Oh, you are going to Akure, please, there was a place I stayed, I would like you to visit the place, a very nice place. That's why most people call it home away from home, because there are certain things you will feel, that comfort, are you getting it? That comfort has to be there, are you getting it? So when you come to Crystal Street, there are these things that people say about Crystal Street. Yes, it is not actually that big, but it is a place where you stay, you see the distancing, the serene environment, the professionalism. All department has their own unique way of carrying on their activities, different from the normal way of doing things. So these are some of the things you are doing. You have like the accommodation, you have your internet, you have your food, both continental and African dishes, but the way they present it to you matters a lot. So that is what makes one hotel different from the other. We all offer the same services, but you have to display a kind of professionalism that will make it different from the other way other people are doing it. So this keep your customer intact. It helps you to maintain a very good customer relationship. Getting it? Some people will come, you say there's no room. and they feel that, oh man, where can I stay and I get such services. It's not that the food is different, but the way you do it, the packaging, are you getting it? The way you present the service matters a lot. So that will make you to keep your customer and make them to always keep coming and even recommend your hotel to some other people coming into the town.
Furthermore, the general manager of Crystal Salt expressed that the mid-scale hotels like Crystal Field are driven by the rising power of the middle class, growing weekend culture, the change in attitude from savings for the future to spending it on experiences, and Crystal Salt is bridging the gap and making good of it.
Crystal Street is a good place to be. If you have not known the place, most people will tell me, I don't know that hotel. How long has it been existing? And I will tell you, so wow, in this Jackpot in Akure, sure it is, because there is the Crystal Street is a place that if you don't know, you won't know that there is a hotel. It looks like a residential place. Are you getting it? Because it's meant for VIPs. We host kings. I wouldn't want to mention him for security purposes. We hold kings. We hold their excellency, ex-governors, senators, and all that. Are you getting it? We have MDs of banks. They come, they stay, they feel at home. Nobody knows you are in town. So that is one of the reasons why people actually love Crystal Street. So I want everybody to visit Crystal Street because they will love the place and they will be glad they did.
Our special report on the hospitality industry, focusing on the Sunshine State, Ondo State, and Akure, the state capital, to be precise, will continue on Inside Business Africa next time. However, when we come back, right after this commercial break, we'll be still talking about Ondo State, but this time we're going to be meeting with the chairman of Osopodec, Honorable Gbenga Edema, to tell us about what the agency has been doing in the last 3 years of the administration of Oluwarotimi Akeredolu SAN. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still Inside Business Africa, Africa's business news and information leader. Thanks for staying with us. This is a very important segment of this program. This is called the Focus segment, where we'll be talking with some of the key guests, operators in the corporate world in Nigeria and globally. Today we are going to be focusing on a very important agency in Ondo State, Ondo State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission. It's called Osopodec for short. The current chairman of that commission, Honorable Gbenga Edema, is a barrister, is a former member of the State Assembly, and also a very important personality in the government of Oluwarotimi Akeredolu indeed. Let me use this opportunity to welcome Mr. Gbenga Edema to this important program.
Thank you.
Now let me go straight to my first question, because it's important for us to establish the basis and also the agency we are talking about, having introduced you for a bit about you. Can you tell us a little bit about what is the Osopodec really, and what are the mandates of this particular agency?
The Osopodec was put in place by the late Governor as a result of agitation immediately after the 30% oil derivation fund was enacted as part of the constitution. So the issue arose as to, in Ondo State, only the Riverine area of Ondo State produces oil. And as a result, if 30% oil derivation come, it has to accrue to them and them only. So that led to agitation, but due to negotiation between the government and the people of the Riverine area, I think that gave rise to the establishment of Osopodec. That was around the year 2000, so I can't be too sure. But I know that at that time the governor was the chairman, so what they had was an executive secretary. Thereafter, when Governor Gagu, the late Gagu, became governor in 2003, he amended the law and they now created the office of the executive chairman. So the first executive chairman is Dr. Bukun Omotechi.
Well, having established that, I think it's important to go straight to talk about in the last 3 years of the administration of His Excellency Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu SAN. This agency has come with a lot of challenges, and also especially with the draft of funds, short of funds, and so many things have been bedeviled with this particular agency, especially with the reduction or the slow in the oil production and the less performance of the nation's economy. And that particular agency is not exception, because, like we said, it's actually dependent on the 30% derivation from the oil production in Nigeria and from the Federation account. Now let's look at the performance in the last 3 years or 3.5 years thereabout of the administration of Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, and what you've been able to bring to the table for the people.
Okay. People fail to talk about the good side of Osopadek. Yes. And like the red-head lizard that falls down from the iroko tree. You see, if he doesn't, he shakes his head, he says, if nobody praises me, I will have to praise myself. So when Osopadek came, at least from 2003 to date, the road between Ibokode and Ayetoro, which currently terminates at Ebola, is a road that was funded and executed 100% by Osopadek. So Osopadek had done a lot of good things. Unfortunately, nobody is reporting all this good side of Osopadek. Okay. So most of the time you hear about Osopadek is also on the negative. So I want to correct that impression. So we have budget which is passed by the House of Assembly. The budget is what we operate, and that is where we have done all these good things we have done. That is prior to 2017. Okay. So I'm trying to clear this so that people don't have the impression that Osopadek has unlimited fund. So Osopadek is also like any government agency. We have our limitations. We have our bureaucracies. But by and large, I can rate Osopadek as having done beautifully well for the people. Okay. But now, coming to 2017, when we came on board, we inherited a lot of projects that are beneficial to the people. Okay. Yes, they have their own challenges. For instance, we came with a challenge where we found out that bursary, giving scholarship and bursary, happened to be one of the things I embraced over the years for our students in the tertiary institutions. Okay. In 2014, 2015, 2016, of course, there was a lacuna. Lack of funds, debt of funds were not paid. But in this administration, since we came on board, we have been paying every year. We paid in 2017, we paid in 2018, we also paid the 2019 edition this year. You will have heard as people protested the Bible because of debt of fund. But to the glory of God, the governor has graciously approved that the money be paid. As I'm talking to you, all the students who have applied for the 2017-2018 edition have been fully paid. So that being the water project at Abodo, only yesterday the House of Assembly, that's the Public Account Committee of the House of Assembly, also insisted they wanted to be some of our project, especially the water project at Abodo. The reason that we have spent so much money on provision of water, yet our people are not being able to drink water. What went wrong? So yesterday the Public Account Committee of the House of Assembly went on a visit and they saw real life that the treatment plant has been completed. The reticulation and the pipeline laying, which was the inhibiting factor, has also been completed. As I'm talking to you, water is already flowing. So that then the road from Abo to Atije, the 28 kilometer road, is also ongoing. These are some of the things we inherited and we are putting in place. Only last week we also advertised the road from Alape Junction to Araromi, 32 kilometers on their route. Very soon we are looking for contractors who will handle them. We also want to do that. Why I'm saying all this is we cannot, they are unexhaustive what we are able to do, what we have done. But a lot of these projects were also inherited from the previous administration. But unlike the previous administrations, this government believes that there's the need for continuity. After all, these projects are for the benefit of our people.
Well, we're not going to talk about elections because this is Inside Business Africa. Here we talk specifically about business, and hence our own questions to you. We just reflect on the activities of the agency and what the agency is bringing to the table in terms of performance. As a business program, we try to restrict ourselves from dabbling into policy, but we're going to ask you this question just for the sake of this particular interview, right? What do we expect from Osopadek, and can you speak about also the support you're giving to the governor, which I have asked you about earlier on? Any other information you would like to give us, especially in supporting the election of the current governor that is going for the second time?
The second time of Governor Akeredolu is already ordained by God, by the grace of God. So I'm saying this because if you look at the circumstances surrounding his emergence now, you can see that God actually has a hand in some of this. I've told a lot of people, you see, one is he said, touch not the Lord's anointed and do my prophets no harm. And I have said, power belongs to God. Nobody gets anything except it's given from him from above. So, but by and large, what we can do is that I have told our people, you don't change a winning team. You don't change a winning team to the extent that if I have to be selfish, I will look at it from the angle of my local government alone. Let's use that as a case study. For instance, he has started this process of Port of Ondo, as Ondo Deep Sea Port. You will agree with me that there's no way that port is put in place that will not employ anything less than 30 to 40,000 people directly. We have struggled, we have toiled. Even as a member of the Ondo Staff of Assembly, I tried. But there was no support anyway. Governor Akeredolu came and he put it on the front corner. Today, work is going on that road. So, and you know that when that road is opened up, it will be like we are part of Lekki or Lekki extension. And so that means the benefit to the people from being able to do business with Lagos, which hosts the largest economy in Nigeria, is going to be enormous. Forget about the Alagbe Inland Port, which was abandoned as we do. These are things, or Guangdong, Ondo Guangdong. You see, like I was talking, investment is the only way that you can remove unemployment from the milieu. And if all these projects, like we are talking about, are put in place, courtesy of Governor Akeredolu, then what am I complaining about? That means the issue of unemployment, apart from the physical development and the terrain itself will change. So if somebody is doing that now, if you change him now, how are you sure that that project will continue? We have seen a lot of elephant projects, not because they were not good projects, because due to change of government, the new government, they are not interested, it's not under our priority. So that is why, as an Elijah man, I have told my people, and somebody from not only Elijah, even Seudu, and indeed the entire Ondo South and Rural District, it is apt, it is right, it is reasonable that we should support Governor Akeredolu for support that, so that he can continue all this good job he's doing. But that one will be the worst for it. He doesn't lose anything. He has the second address. And if they are going to list the people that will be governors in Ondo State, his name will always there, like the photograph we have here. Nobody can take that away from him.
Honorable Gbenga Edeme, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity of speaking with you on Inside Business Africa and looking at the Osopadec, the mandate, and also the offering so far in the last 3.5 years, and what the future holds for the people of the oil producing areas vis-a-vis the performance and operations of Osopadec. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, I'm afraid that's about all we have time for on Inside Business Africa for today. Watch out for a very important special of Inside Business Africa, where we'll be talking about the 73rd Independence Anniversary of India. That particular celebration will be done on Saturday, and on Monday, it is expected that Inside Business will have a very important feature talking about Indian at 73 Independence Anniversary, and quite a number of organizations are lining up to speak on this. And as you know, Indo-Nigerian relationship has been quite robust, and we'll be able to bring you clips from that celebration and also a very important report from operators including Prestige Assurance PLC and many other organizations that are operating in Nigeria. It's been Kenneth Odusola-Stevenson presenting Inside Business Africa. Thank you again for watching. See you next time.